The Providence Journal invited 8 public officials to discuss race in Rhode Island, our series about the state's changing population, the gaps that have developed among the races, and the consequences for all of us. Their comments will help shape public policy and set the climate for how we treat each other. Governor, thank you very much for participating. We published a series of stories in the last year, Race in Rhode Island. So we thought at this point of the project we'd invite 8 state and local policymakers in to have a discussion. So that's what we are today.
Yeah, because the criticism has been that governors have put a lot less emphasis on creating a diverse bench than using it as a bargaining chip with General Assembly leaders to get what they want in the budget or whatever. So, yeah, how important is a diverse bench to you?
I think it is important. It is important. But my top priority is a high-quality bench. Let's be clear. But I don't think those goals are at odds. I mean, we will find high-quality people with diversity. The bench needs more women. The bench, I would like it to be that at the end of my term, the bench will be a bit younger, a bit more diverse, and a bit more female. And maybe a lot, depending on how many vacancies come through in my time. And high quality, high quality.
And what are you going to say when they say, well, we've got a former legislator or an ally that we'd like to put in this magistrate or judge position?
Take everyone as it comes. If they're highly qualified and I think they'll be a terrific judge, then they might warrant the appointment.
We have pockets of Latino entrepreneurs, we have a Black Business Association, we have a white power structure, white business structure. What's the role of the governor, who's committed to the economy, to pull those groups together for one economic force? And I guess, Governor, what are you doing to pull those together?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah. Well, if you had been at our event the other day at Los Andes, you would have seen the place was packed with Latino business owners and entrepreneurs. Yeah. And we launched the website. We have new tools for that program. You would have seen activity there. I'm also just about to launch a small business loan fund, because if you talk, as I've done, to Latino businesses or Black-owned businesses and you say, what are the barriers? There's a couple things that always come up. One is mentorship, and so that's what we started to address, and the other one is capital, a lack of access to capital. And so that's why we're starting this small business loan fund. Some of them are microloans. That program, I think, will disproportionately help minority-owned businesses. And that's how we're advertising it. And actually, we said that at that forum. You mentioned the Black Business Association. They helped us to craft it. They came and testified for it. They're going to help us to get the word out to the community. So I would say we are doing some of that.
Part of the discussion about race this year has been national. It's been talking about white privilege. And so we had an op-ed the other day from a former Senate Majority Leader, David Collin, who's now a professor at CCRI. And he was saying if the average Black is worse off than the average white in almost every category of well-being, health, wealth, income, education, high culture, gainful employment, etc., this is chiefly because of an appallingly dysfunctional subculture that is pervasive among the Black lower classes. So what do you agree or disagree with Carlin, and what does white privilege mean to you?
I strongly disagree. I think that is wrong. I disagree strongly. I didn't see it at the time, but just based on what you just read to me, I would strongly disagree with those statements. White privilege is so many things, right? It's easier to get a loan for a first mortgage if you are white than if you are poor, Black, and come from a poor neighborhood. It's every time somebody looks at you, they form an opinion. And many times, if you're a person of color, people immediately, subconsciously or consciously, form opinions about you based on stereotypes. There is no way you can look at the facts of the incarceration rate, the parole rate, the probation rate, the income disparity, and think that there's not prejudice against Black and brown people and prejudice in favor of white people. And we just haven't done enough to break down those barriers. And if what he means, I don't even know what he means by subculture. So I don't even know what that means. But look, maybe what he means is, it is a fact that if you go to certain areas of high poverty and high concentrations of non-white people, yeah, you're going to see high crime. You're going to see dilapidated buildings. That's not because those people are black or brown. It's because they're poor and their schools aren't working and the infrastructure's falling apart. And if we did a better job of making Rhode Island a place of opportunity where everyone has equal access to the opportunity, I don't think you'd have, you know, these pockets, that, if that's what he means.
Governor, race in Rhode Island has fostered many difficult but needed conversations about race. But we still have many people and individuals in power in denial about their own racism. How would you influence or be hurt by those individuals?
You know, some of it is just is talking and saying it. You know, people need to hear the governor saying those things. I think there's a value to that, just asserting these things. Some of it is just me being in the community. So, for instance, over the next few months, I'm spending time in churches, just talking to churches in the community, a Haitian church, Latino church. People need to see their governor. I'm the governor of everybody. I'm the people's governor, all the people.
None of these issues we've talked about here today are new.
Yeah.
Why is it that people of color have always lagged whites in Rhode Island?
Everywhere, probably. It's not just Rhode Island. You know, I think we've never fully committed ourselves to being honest about the problem and prioritizing it. And unfortunately, politics does get in the way. You know, I'm thinking of some proposals now, for example, in the education world. It is absolutely true that a little bit of investment saves the state lots of money if you keep somebody out of prison or whatnot. And so we just have to be more focused on making those smart investments. And maybe it does take some more money in the short run to make those investments. I'm not sure anyone has the answer to that. The most troubling thing for me, though, is how little progress we've made. Like, I'm not sure it's any better. That is the most troubling thing. And that's why I think it's great you're doing the series. I mean, I think it's great you're doing the series and devoted so many resources to it. Because that's probably what it's going to take, like a all-hands-on-deck focus. It does seem to be the case that norms change and policies change in times of crisis. And hopefully this will be a moment that we can all rally around this issue and finally start to move things forward.
Do you think government and the institutions of government have been part of the problem?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, look, some of it is like the housing example that we talked about. Rhode Island Housing needs to do better in making sure that the money that we provide so people can become homeowners gets into the hands of people that aren't white. Like, I'll tell you how, like, I'll give you a perfect example, and this is things I think about. One of the other programs I've rolled out since being governor is we call it the Ocean State Grad Grant. Essentially what it is if you're a recent college graduate, I want to keep young people here and college graduates here. So if you're a college graduate and you agree to work in Rhode Island and buy a house in Rhode Island, we'll give you a $7,000 down payment. It helps you buy a house. It's a forgivable loan. When I read the paper, I said, okay, what do I have to do to make sure that a fair share of that money gets into the hands of people that aren't white? And that's what we have to do. Because that's how you make progress, right? Then if you say, we helped enough people buy their first home and now they're in Rhode Island, you know, that's progress.